folks can access it later. So I would ask everybody if you can put yourself on mute until the end, then we will ask for questions and you can unmute and we can chat more later. So I want to thank everyone for coming. The purpose of today is really to, just chat about what's on the EnviroStars application and make sure that, if you're working with a business, that you feel comfortable with kind of the basic sustainability related things that are on the checklist. And so, we all might be subject experts in a certain area, but maybe don't know that much about other categories. And so this is just to say, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know everything about everything, but what are kind of the basic things that you might want to know? So let me jump in to my section. Okay. Get that. Are you seeing that screen? Should now, Christy. It's perfect. So I am Jenna. I'm with the City of Kirkland. My role is Solid Waste and Recycling Coordinator. So what I'm going to talk about is all things fun, garbage, recycling, composting, that sort of thing. So what's good to know about this section is that what we have covered in the EnviroStars program is meant to be as applicable to all of the different areas that you might be working in. There are, specifics with solid waste and recycling specific to different cities, but what we're going to talk about and what we've tried to do with EnviroStars is really make it relevant to the whole kind of area that EnviroStars covers. So what's included in this section? What we're really talking about is minimizing waste, maximizing diversion to recycling and compost programs, and recycling other things besides just what a business might be able to put in their carts or dumpsters outside. The things to know that really are the beneficial to the businesses are kind of the three things listed here. So reduced operating costs would be a big one. Compost and recycle is typically cheaper and sometimes free compared to garbage. So garbage is always going to be the most expensive way to dispose of things. And so encouraging a business to put all of the right things and all of the things they can into their recycle container and into their compost container and really minimize and just get down to the kind of lowest amount of garbage service that they need is going to save them money. Another benefit is that businesses like recycling. It feels very directly tied to sustainability. They like the idea of doing it. They want to do a good job at it. And customers like businesses that do a good job with recycling and composting. So recycling and composting is very visible to customers. And so when they can see a business that's doing a good job with it, or they can see that a business is kind of set up well for it, that can be a benefit and kind of a positive attribute for them. So what are the services that can be offered? So this is dependent on your service area, but it's good and to know that overall, many member agencies in EnviroStars, so many cities, many programs offer free resources in this section. So we offer free signage. Some member agencies have free bins that they can offer, so they can, if a business just has a garbage can, they might be able to get some free recycling or free compost bins and a lot of staff training. So a lot of cities will offer these resources, and the EnviroStars program is working on developing some free signage that's really kind of applicable to other folks as well. So that's something that when you go into a business, having free signs available is something that we can do. In addition, we can usually offer kind of personalized assistance to businesses to help with their services. So they can, they might have questions about changing their services. They don't know who to talk to. So we can help facilitate, connections with the haulers or cities that might be the ones that are doing that service. So Christy mentioned core actions. So these are the actions that we expect kind of all businesses to be able to do. And these are going to be on all of the different checklists and relevant to just about any business that's going to be trying to go through the EnviroStars process. So these core actions are kind of the tier 1 level core actions in garbage recycling world. So the first thing would be to recycle all paper, cans, bottles, jars, and cardboard in their service area. So that's going to be just about everywhere those things are all accepted. We want businesses recycling all of those things. Second core action would be to monitor the internal waste bins and the external waste bins. So wherever they bring their recycling and garbage, to identify areas for improvement. And then we want to see signage and labels posted on garbage, recycling, and composting bins and showing what's accepted in each. So all of those things are no cost, available to everybody, and we've got resources to help them do that. These are the tier 2 and 3. So this is kind of the next step for businesses if they're wanting to do even more, but we would expect businesses to have a reuse area for office supplies and to compost all organics. And so in some cities like Seattle, you might be required to compost, but in other cities, they might not even have it available. So that's why it's really a core level 3 thing. But if a business wants to be kind of the greenest of the green, we would expect them to be doing composting. So just a couple photos to kind of think about what we should be looking for at a business. So this is just showing, where we would want to put signs and stickers. You want to sticker the different bins. You want to put signs up wherever possible. We want to make sure that anywhere you've got a garbage bin, that the recycling bin's with it so that we locate them together to make it easier for people to put the right thing in the right bin. These are the questions that you might get from businesses that we would say are most common. So people might ask, what are the regulations? What do I have to do? Like, I'm not sure. So Seattle has some rules. And so sometimes if you're maybe working outside of Seattle, folks might think those same rules apply to them, but they might have questions on what is required. They might have questions on where does something go. King County has a good website called What Do I Do With, where you can look up kind of weird items or stuff outside the norm and figure out where it should go. And they might ask, what free resources can you offer me? So like we said, it's a good idea to know or to have on hand some of that signage that you can put in key areas or help with educating their staff. So like we said, kind of the top 3 actions we would recommend are recycling everything you can, composting everything you can, having bins and having bins located together with the right stickers and the right signs on them. We also want to encourage you to kind of take a look at where, so this is if you're on site, obviously you might not be doing that now, but if you are on site, taking a look at where their bins are or asking them if they know where they are, because this is an important part of garbage and recycling, is making sure that all that effort they put to putting it in the right container inside the business, that then it's getting into the right container outside the business. And so you can take a look and see, is the recycling dumpster full with all the stuff they collected, or is it accidentally in the garbage bin? So that's something good just to keep an eye on. All right, so that's the quick overview of garbage and recycling. And I think now we're gonna move into hazardous waste. All right, I think I stopped sharing. Sue, Sue is on. I see her.
Yeah, hi Jenna. Are you going to switch over or?
So you are welcome to share your screen and control your own PowerPoint, or if you want, we can share it for you. Up to you.
I actually share. I can. Let me know if you see my screen.
I see your flower.
We see your pretty desktop picture.
Are you seeing the presentation?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So Hello, everybody. This is so exciting. We have a brand new team. I'm so excited about it. We have 3 new staff. This is the first time we've been fully staffed in many years. I think they're all here. So you guys want to say a quick hi to everybody, to whoever's here? Donna, you want to say hi? Everybody's going to be on mute.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a different mute location for this than the regular one.
I see some waving. That's good, though.
Hard to find those darn buttons.
I know.
I'm Kim Jones. I'm one of the new staff members with King County Environmental or Hazardous Waste.
Gordon, are you on
Good
there?
afternoon. Yeah. Good
All right.
afternoon, everybody. My name is Gordon, and I'm happy to be here. As well, just like Kim, I am a new staff, and so far so good. Nice to meet all of you.
Justin there? When he comes on, I'm going to introduce my supervisor, so everybody make me look good. Emmanuel Rivera is our new project manager, program manager for our field team.
Yep.
And so real excited. Our new folks are here, very interested and very excited to start with the program. So I will start with that. This is Sue
Great.
Hamilton. I'm one of the leads on our team, our field team. So I'm going to start off with our benefits because that's what our businesses really love the most. They love to see when we come in, they love to see that we're going to give them options for disposal for their hazardous waste, which is really nice because they're sometimes have no idea. They think that they always have to use a vendor, which costs a lot of money. But if they qualify, if they're a small quantity generator, we have facilities in King County where they can actually take their hazardous waste for free. Well, no charge. Everybody gets it charged in their utility bill. But we can talk more about that if people have questions about it at another time. So that's the top draw for a lot of businesses, that when they hear that, they love to hear it. They love to talk to us. Then we can start talking about the other things in their shop. We also have vouchers for businesses, and what that will cover is, as on the slide, safety equipment, PPE. We've kind of enhanced it this year to include improved ventilation. We've always done improved ventilation, but we're seeing a lot more vouchers being requested for that now. Secondary containment, spill kits. We also provide free spill kits. The first one is free, and then they can use a voucher if they need additional ones. We are really trying to get folks to use less hazardous chemicals, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later too. And in doing that, we will provide a voucher for them so that they can try new chemicals out, and we will reimburse them 75% of their costs up to $599, which covers a lot. They can use that for other things too. Another big push for our program is trying to identify safer alternatives for businesses. And that could be anything from as simple as a cleaning product to a degreaser to really toxic solvents that they might be using in their shop. And Safer Choice, which is in the EnviroStars program criteria, is our preferred label to look for. It's an EPA label, and it has EPA has done a lot of research to determine the safer products that businesses and residential can use. They've got a great website, and they've done a lot of research into it. Not only do they look at the safety component, but they also look at how well it works. And they have done extensive research. We will show people the website. We like to show that photo of or a picture of the label, and better yet, we've actually been handing out some free Safer Choice products that almost any business can use. We've been just using really benign cleaning products that almost everybody uses cleaning products. So we hand them a Safer Choice product, and we show them the label, and we help them get onto the website so they can see how they can purchase even more. Top 3 questions that we get. We say small business just to not be too complex, but really it's not necessarily a small business. It's Actually, our focus is on small quantity generators, and happy to go more into that on a side conversation or give you some websites, etc. But basically, we consider a small generator one, and Department of Ecology, the dangerous regs do, a business that generates 220 pounds or less a month. And that is typically like a gas station or a dentist, auto repair, auto body, that type of business that most people use on a daily basis. So a lot of businesses that you wouldn't expect actually fall into the SQG category as well. We've got into really large manufacturers. In fact, Justin and I were just in one yesterday that have huge volume and a huge facility, and yet they're still a small quantity generator. So that can be deceiving. But basically, our program will visit any business that generates hazardous waste, and we often are able to help them bring down their generation so that they can become an SQG, even if they were once regulated. Donna and Justin were both on this site that we were at yesterday, where they were at one time a large generator, and now they're a small quantity generator. So a lot of the businesses want to know where they can dispose of their hazardous waste. What are their options? We have a few. They want to know what the proper labeling is, and Justin can talk to you forever about proper hazardous waste labels. He comes from ecology, and he can help us all with that. And how should they store their hazardous materials and wastes? And it really depends on the business. So if you're not versed in hazardous waste, don't worry, because it gets pretty complicated, and every single business is very, very different. As you can imagine, an auto repair is way different than if you walk into a dentist that is trying to get their recognition for EnviroStars. So we're always happy to help. If you have questions, if you've seen something on site that makes you scratch your head and it doesn't look quite right, please do give us a call. The top 3 actions we recommend for probably all businesses, and we want them to try to reuse hazardous materials if they can, which, for example, antifreeze can be reused, or recycle, and as a last resort, properly dispose if they can't reuse it or recycle it. Basically, we are trying to keep exposures of hazardous materials to people in the environment. So anything that we can do to reduce hazardous waste and hazardous materials in the first place is really where we focus. When available, we like to talk a lot about choosing safer chemicals. If they reduce the amount of hazardous materials that they're using, they can thereby reduce their waste as well. If they're not generating it, they can reduce their footprint in the hazardous waste world. And then proper storage of hazardous materials and wastes. This is a big one. I know I stuck a lot of stuff in there. Proper storage is quite extensive, and protecting the storm and drains in itself is its own topic. So I kind of squeezed a lot of information in there, but happy to expand, and any one of our team members can help you if you have questions. Really soon, everybody's going to be able to help you out. We have a lot of core actions for tier 1. However, they're not all appropriate for every business. So it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. So for example, submitting a one-time compliance report to the Department of Ecology may or may not be applicable to that business. Install and properly maintain an amalgam separator, that's just for dentists. So there's a lot in there. Don't get overwhelmed. The properly disposed hazardous waste is always our number one thing. We want to make sure that they're properly disposing. If they are disposing hazardous waste, it needs to go to the right venue. Similar to Jenna's in terms of labeling, we're real big on labels too. And we like to see labels on products and waste. And we have labels that we can provide to businesses if they need them, or we can point them to the Department of Ecology website, which will give them all of the information that they need to be within the regulations for proper labeling of hazardous waste. And one of the things that we tried to do when we were identifying the criteria on the standards committee, I don't know how many people are involved or are familiar with that, but the standards committee really try to go above and beyond just meeting the regulations. So some of these are just meeting the regulation because they're so important. But really, if they're going to be an EnviroStar recognized business, they really should be going above just the basic of complying with the regulations. So even though there are some regulations on here, it's hard to ignore them because if they aren't doing the basics, it would be pretty hard to recognize them as an EnviroStar. So even though a lot of these are regulations, some of them are just what we call best management practices. And so for a small quantity generator, for a smaller business, they have best management practices, which is a little more lenient than the actual code and regulation requirements. We can go into that too, but we will also visit for EnviroStars recognition. We will also visit regulated generators as well. And if they have questions about their code and regulations, we'll point them in the right direction. Empty all containers for cleaning and a drain. I think a lot of this is kind of overlap with a lot of the different sections. Never dump the water outside. These are all.
Sue, I just wanted to touch real quick. Are running behind.
Okay,
time.
I'm going to skip this because you guys can all read this yourself, and you can always ask any of us a question. Thank you, Jenna. Real quick, our top three really: hazardous waste disposal, documentation, making sure that they're actually getting rid of it in the proper place. Secondary containment, we can talk more about that. Protect stormwater, have a spill kit. We give spill kits at. How do I have any more time, or am I done?
Well, you are going to finish, and then we are going to open up for questions. So
okay,
just finish up
I'll just
what
finish.
you wanted to share.
I'm done. Woohoo!
I know Sue is just so passionate, and she's got so much to say, which is great. But we just don't have that much time.
That's okay.
You have to contact her to get more details.
And pretty soon, all of our staff is going to be able to assist you with your questions.
Even better. Yeah, and I think that's a good summary, Sue, just to note, you know, with hazardous waste, there are regulations and there's different stuff. And so folks don't need to know all of that and be experts because that's what your team is for. But really, what are those red flags or what are those things to really kind of pay attention as a non-expert? That's
right. Yeah. The red flag is disposal. If you see stains in their sink, that's a flag. Chemical storage, if you see a lot of buckets of chemicals all jumbled up together, that's a red flag. Right. And then if they have questions about safer chemicals, they can always call us too.
Totally.
Thank you, Jana.
Yes. Well, I will just pause. We are just about at time, but I'm happy to stay over a little bit if there are questions. So I'm seeing a question in the chat, which is great.
I'm trying to get rid of my screen for you all.
Okay, this one sounds like it is for hazardous waste team. Can you provide one example of a commonly used hazardous material in businesses be replaced by one of those kind of safer choice EPA approved items? So what's a good example of something that maybe is a reasonable swap?
That is a very, very good question. And that's a great question because almost every shop does some kind of cleaning in some way. And there are a million safer alternatives that can be found on the Safer Choice website. And we are also providing those types of chemicals for folks to try. But there are any category that you have of hazardous waste, hazardous materials, you can pretty much find it on that website. But probably the most ubiquitous is the cleaning. Donna, I can tell you when to say something. Go for it.
Oh, how can you tell? Was I breathing hard?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking that most shops and offices have fluorescent tubes. And if they were to change those out to LEDs, that's an energy, that's a safer product. I mean, all kinds of boxes get ticked on that. And there's usually rebates available. So, I mean, it's a real round waste that you see almost everywhere. I'm done.
Thank you, Donna. That was great.
One other thought I have just from working with you guys over the years is it seems like every kind of business, you know, just office, retail, whatever, has like just a basic all-purpose cleaner. And that's one that seems people don't know really what to buy. And so pointing out, hey, just look for one with the safer choice label. That's been a really easy swap. And they're like, oh, great. I just want something to wipe down the counters. No problem. So that seems
Exactly.
like an easy one too.
Yeah, that's a super easy one.
All right. Another
Sue,
question.
I had a
Go ahead.
question, actually a comment. Sue, to answer this question a little further, I was kind of hoping you'd, we ordered a bunch of all general purpose cleaner. Like Sue said, I mean, most and every business really has that's part of their work is to keep everything clean, the surfaces clean. So the idea was to get a stock of Safer Choice all-purpose cleaner that we can provide businesses as an example. So that's one way, at least to get to introduce them to the actual product line of safer alternatives. You got this, look, you got this cleaner, check it out. And if you like it, that's great. Look for that label that's on the Safer Choice label on there. Did I say that right, Sue?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Yep.
that's the idea, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
cool.
One more question for the hazardous waste folks in the chat. Is there a quick general conversion for the 220 pounds a month threshold to be an SQG? Like, is there a certain, amount, 4 or 5 buckets a month or something? Or is there a list of,
25.
what was that?
Sorry, it's about 25 gallons a month.
25 gallons a month.
Approximately, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Half of a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
That's the way
good
of putting
visual
it.
reference for us. So yeah, or is there a list that we can reference to determine if business is an SQG, or how would someone know?
Yes, we can give that to you. In fact, I think we might have it in the on the website, but I'll make sure that we do. Yeah, we have some really good information about that we can share.
Okay, perfect.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you to everyone who came and for the presenters. Thank you. If anyone has any more questions that come up, either feel free to, you can send me an email with the questions and I can forward those and connect you with the correct person who might be able to answer those. Or if Jenny, you want to like pop your info into the chat for people, that might be helpful as well, so that you can contact them directly. And then if you had any colleagues who weren't able to attend, I am recording this, so I will stop the recording and then I will have that if you would like to access that, and I will hopefully upload it somewhere where we can all access that and send a link.
Perfect, that sounds good.
Great. And then the next week we'll have same time, same day of the week. We will be having our energy and transportation presentation. So look forward to seeing more people for that too.
Awesome. Well, thank you all and have a sunny afternoon.